Your credit score doesn't care that you're going through the worst year of your life. Divorce, a cross-country move, a medical crisis. These aren't just emotional gut punches. They're financial ambushes that can quietly shred years of credit building while you're too busy surviving to notice. Let's talk about why this happens. Because it's not bad luck, it's a system that was never designed with human chaos in mind. Credit bureaus don't have a checkbox for going through a divorce. They just see missed payments, maxed cards, and suddenly closed accounts, and they respond the way a cold algorithm always does, brutally. Take divorce first, because it might be the sneakiest credit killer of them all. You and your ex agree on who pays what. You shake hands or sign papers, and then one of you stops paying a joint account, and boom, both of your scores take the hit because the bank never cared about your custody agreement. The fix sounds almost too simple, but almost nobody does it in time. Separate every joint account before the divorce is final, not after. You want your name off accounts you're not controlling. Because we agreed is not a legal defense against a late payment tanking your 750 credit score down to the high sixes. Now let's move to moving, which sounds innocent until you realize a change of address can quietly trigger a cascade of missed bills. Statements go to the old address. Automatic payments fail when your bank flags the new location, and suddenly your otherwise spotless payment history has a mysterious 30-day late mark from a utility company you completely forgot about. The move checklist most people use says, forward your mail. The Credit Smart checklist says, audit every single creditor, subscription, and utility account, and update your address before you touch a single moving box. Set calendar reminders for 30, 60, and 90 days post-move to manually verify nothing slipped through, because the post office forwarding service is not a guarantee. Medical emergencies are where it gets genuinely unfair and honestly a little absurd. You're unconscious or grieving or managing a diagnosis, and meanwhile, a collections agency is quietly purchasing your hospital bill and preparing to decorate your credit report with a derogatory mark that'll live there for 7 years. The good news, and this is real, not just motivational fluff, medical debt under $500 was removed from credit reports by the major bureaus in 2023, and debt under 1 year old is also excluded now. But anything older or larger can still wreck you. So the moment you're stable enough to open mail, you need to request an itemized bill, dispute errors, and ask the hospital about financial assistance programs before anything goes to collections. Here's the pattern nobody tells you. All three of these events share one common vulnerability, which is the gap between when the financial disruption starts and when you actually find out your credit is damaged. You can close that gap almost entirely by doing one free thing, putting a credit freeze or fraud alert on your files at Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion the moment any major life event begins, because chaos is when fraudsters strike too. People think a credit freeze means you can't use credit, but that's a misconception worth killing right now. A freeze just prevents new accounts from being opened without your explicit unfreeze, and you can lift it in minutes online. It's essentially a free security blanket that costs you nothing and protects you from the identity theft that spikes during exactly these vulnerable life windows. The historical lesson here is simple and consistent across every financial cycle. The people who come out of life disruptions with their credit intact are never the ones who had it the easiest. They're the ones who had a process. They checked their free credit reports at annualcreditreport.com. They set payment alerts. They kept utilization below 30% even when cash flow was tight. And they treated their credit like a long-term asset rather than something to think about later. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be systematic. One missed bill won't destroy you, but 3 months of financial avoidance absolutely will. The discipline isn't in making no mistakes during a crisis. It's in building enough of a routine beforehand that the routine partially runs itself when you're not at your best. At the philosophical level, your credit score is just a number, but it's a number that controls whether you can rent an apartment after a divorce, qualify for a mortgage after a move, or afford reasonable loan terms after a medical crisis. So protecting it is an act of self-respect during moments when you most need options. Prepare for the disruption before it arrives. Keep your accounts tidy. monitor consistently, and you'll walk out the other side of even the hardest chapter with your financial foundation still standing. And if you're ready to take the next step, whether that's real estate investing, home contracting work, or finding the right lender, check out our links in the description below, and let's get you started.